Hello, sleepy thinkers, and welcome to Sleepy Science Teller. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Take a slow breath in and a gentle breath out. This is your time to relax, to learn, and to drift softly towards sleep. Tonight, we'll explore a fascinating and slightly mysterious topic. That strange, almost magical feeling when a moment feels like it has happened before, even though you know it hasn't. This gentle mystery is called Déjà vu, and together we'll slowly unravel the science behind it. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where in the world are you listening from tonight? And what time is it right now for you? You can share it in the comments below. I always find it comforting to see how many people from so many places are falling asleep together under the same sky. And if you enjoy drifting into sleep with calming science stories like this one, please gently press the like button and consider subscribing so you'll always have a soft voice waiting to guide you into rest. There are certain moments in life when time itself seems to ripple. You walk into a room you have never entered before. You look at the walls, the ceiling, the tiny details that your eyes rest upon, and suddenly, without warning, a gentle shiver moves through your mind. A whisper inside you says, "I have been here before." This is the strange and wonderful experience we call déjà vu. It arrives like a shadow, soft and fleeting, a visitor that lingers only for a moment and then fades, leaving behind a question. How can something so new feel so deeply familiar? Perhaps you have felt it in an ordinary conversation. You hear someone speak a sentence, maybe something simple like asking about the weather, but as the words reach your ears, your heart slows. You know without knowing how that you have heard these exact words before, the way they were spoken, the way the air seemed to hum around you. It feels like a memory being replayed. Yet no such memory exists, at least not one you can find. The sensation is so gentle, yet so powerful. It blurs the boundary between past and present. And in that brief moment, you find yourself standing in two worlds, the world of what is happening now and the world of something you can only describe as already lived. It is a deeply human experience. And as you let your mind wander with me tonight, you may recall your own moments of déjà vu, times when the ordinary became extraordinary, when the present stretched backward into something strangely timeless. Scientists have studied this feeling, philosophers have written about it, and everyday people, just like you and me, have whispered about its strangeness for centuries. Some describe it as eerie, others as comforting, and some even call it proof of mysteries beyond our reach. But no matter how it feels, déjà vu is always brief. It arrives quietly and leaves just as softly, leaving you with a smile, a chill, or a gentle curiosity that lingers, a puzzle in the heart of your memory. So tonight, let us walk slowly into this mystery together. We will not rush. We will not demand answers. We will simply observe, reflect, and drift gently through the story of déjà vu, because perhaps, just perhaps, explore it will remind us of how vast, how delicate, and how magical our minds truly are across the world. People of every culture and language know the sensation. It does not belong to one group or one place. It belongs to all of us, whether you live in a quiet village by the sea or a bustling city of lights, whether you are young, just beginning to notice the mysteries of life, or older, carrying decades of memory behind you. At some point, déjà vu will likely visit you. Think for a moment of a child walking with their parents, Perhaps they are entering a new park for the very first time. The child runs ahead, laughing, and then suddenly stops, frozen by a feeling. I've been here before, the child thinks, confused, even though it is their first visit. That flash of familiarity wraps around them like a secret. Now imagine an elder sitting quietly by a window. They watch a bird land on a branch. The way its wings move, the way the light strikes its feathers. It all feels uncannily familiar, not from memory, not from a photograph, but from somewhere deeper, somewhere unexplainable. Déjà vu reminds us that our brains, though powerful and precise, also hold mysteries that logic alone cannot easily untangle. It is as though the mind keeps a hidden garden, and from time to time, a familiar flower blooms in the present, even though we never planted its seed there before. For centuries, people have wondered if déjà vu is more than science. Some believe it is a glimpse into a past life. Others, that it is a tiny window into the future. And some feel it is a message from the soul, reminding us of things we cannot see with ordinary eyes. Science, of course, offers careful and rational explanations, and we will explore them together in the keynotes ahead. But for now, let us simply stay with the feeling itself, that soft strangeness, that whisper of familiarity in the unknown. It is important to notice that déjà vu never lingers. It slips away almost as quickly as it arrives, like the fading of a dream when you wake, or the echo of a melody you cannot quite place. Perhaps that is part of its charm. If déjà vu stayed with us for minutes or hours, it might lose its wonder, but because it is fleeting, it leaves us curious, gently unsettled, and quietly enchanted. There is something profoundly beautiful about the idea of living a moment twice, even if it is only a trick of the mind. It reminds us of how delicate, how mysterious, and how layered our perception truly is. Picture yourself walking through a quiet street. The air is cool, the lamps are glowing softly. You hear footsteps behind you, and suddenly, the scene washes over you with familiarity. Every detail feels like a repetition, as if the universe itself is folding and you are caught in its gentle loop. Or imagine sitting at a dinner table with friends. Someone tells a story, laughter fills the room, and in that instant, you know you have heard this laughter before in this exact sequence, but you cannot say when or where. It is as if life is replaying itself, as though you are not just remembering, but reliving. Déjà vu does not frighten most people. Instead, it brings a curious stillness. For those few seconds, time seems thicker. The moment feels layered with both past and present. And you are standing in the overlap. In this overlap, the mind feels strangely awake. It is aware of itself, aware of its memories, aware of its mysteries. And perhaps that is why déjà vu fascinates us so deeply. It is not just about memory. It is about the way reality itself can feel uncertain, the way the brain reminds us that what we see and feel is not always as simple as it seems. So, as we conclude this first step in our journey, let us carry with us the essence of this strange feeling, a gentle, fleeting reminder that life is not always linear, that moments can echo, and that in the vast landscape of the mind, the present can sometimes wear the mask of the past. Words are like keys, unlocking hidden doors in our understanding. And when it comes to the mystery of déjà vu, the very name itself already carries a quiet story. The term déjà vu comes from a French language, déjà meaning already, and vu meaning seen. Put together, it whispers a phrase already seen. There is something delicate, almost poetic, in the way this term captures a sensation. Think of how many times we use words that are plain and simple, but here, in this short French expression, the feeling of the experience is held so perfectly. 2 words, holding centuries of human wonder. The phrase was first used in the late 19th century by a French philosopher named Émile Boirac. He was fascinated by unusual mental experiences, and in his writings, he described that uncanny flash when the present feels like a memory. It was he who gave it the name déjà vu. Even today, across the world, this French phrase has not been replaced. Scientists in English-speaking countries in Asia, in Africa, in the Middle East, all still use the same words, because no other language has given us a phrase that fits quite as well. There are other related terms too. Déjà vécu, which means already lived. Déjà senti, already felt. And déjà visite, already visited. Each of these describes slightly different shades of the experience, but it is déjà vu that has taken root most deeply in our imagination. Perhaps it is because it is the simplest, the most elegant, or perhaps it is because we know in our hearts that this feeling is not just about living or feeling, but about seeing the moment in a way that feels doubled. Imagine standing before a painting in a museum. You are sure you have never been there before, and yet, as your eyes drift across the canvas, the light, the colors, the brushstrokes, you feel you have already seen it all. The words match the experience perfectly, like a hand fitting into a glove. So the phrase itself is not just a label, it is a doorway into the mystery, a reminder that what we are living is also what we feel we have lived already. Language is powerful. It does not just describe reality. It shapes the way we think about it. And when we use the phrase déjà vu, we are doing more than naming a sensation. We are also shaping the way we understand it. Think of how, before the late 1800s, people still experienced déjà vu, but without a universal name, they might have called it a strange familiarity or a curious memory. Each person had their own words, their own way of describing it, but there was no single term to bind the experience together. Once Boirac named it déjà vu, the world could finally talk about it in unison. Scientists could study it. Writers could weave it into their stories. And ordinary people could say, with relief, yes, I know that too. I felt déjà vu. It shows us something profound, that sometimes simply naming a mystery makes it easier to hold. The words may not explain it, but they give us a handle to carry it with. And notice how the phrase feels when you say it aloud. Déjà vu. It flows softly, almost like a sigh. The sound itself feels delicate, fleeting, just like the sensation it describes. Across languages, many cultures have borrowed these very French words. Even in places where French is not spoken, people still say déjà vu. That alone tells us how deeply the sensation touches the human spirit. Language here is like a mirror, reflecting the experience back to us, but also shaping the way we think about it. By calling it already seen, we are invited to view it as a visual experience, something the eyes and the mind create together, yet we know it is more than just sight. It can be sound, touch, or even the way the air feels on your skin. But still, the phrase holds true, because no matter the sense involved, it is the seeing of the moment, the recognition of a now, as though then that defines déjà vu. And so, every time we whisper these words, we participate in a tradition more than a century old, a tradition of noticing, naming, and marveling at one of the most delicate tricks of the mind. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting quietly in a cafe. You watch people walking by the windows, carrying books, sipping coffee, talking with friends. Among them, perhaps someone pauses, their gaze unfocused, and just from the look on their face, they are having that familiar flicker, that gentle, fleeting sense of déjà vu. This moment is not rare. In fact, researchers tell us that the vast majority of people across every culture, every age, every walk of life have felt déjà vu at least once. Surveys suggest that around 60 to 80% of people report experiencing it, which means that if you gather 10 people in a room, at least 6, and possibly more, would nod knowingly when you ask, "Have you ever felt déjà vu?" That is the beauty of the sensation. It is not limited to one country, or one culture, or one type of person. It is something we all share, like laughter, like dreams, like the need for sleep. For some, déjà vu comes only once or twice in a lifetime, a rare visitor that leaves them surprised and thoughtful. For others, it comes more often, appearing every few months or even several times a year. The frequency varies, but the familiarity does not. Every time it comes, it carries that same gentle whisper, "I have been here before." And so, déjà vu is not just a personal mystery. It is a collective one, a mystery woven through the human experience, linking us all with invisible threads of familiarity. When we look more closely, scientists notice that déjà vu does not visit everyone equally. It seems to be most common in younger people. Teenagers and young adults often report the highest frequency of déjà vu. It may be because their brains are still developing. Their memory systems are active and flexible, and sometimes more prone to these little hiccups of recognition. As people grow older, déjà vu tends to visit less often, not because the brain loses its ability to feel wonder, but perhaps because memory pathways become steadier, less likely to blur between present and past. It is a little like learning a language. When you are young, the words flow freely, mistakes come easily, and repetition is natural. As you age, you become steadier, more practiced, more deliberate. And so, too, déjà vu may become less frequent, though never disappearing completely. There are also connections to memory strength itself. Those who travel more, read widely, or experience new places often sometimes report déjà vu more frequently, perhaps because their brains are always encountering fresh information, and the chance for overlap is greater. On the other hand, those who live with memory disorders sometimes describe déjà vu in unusual ways. For some, it becomes too frequent or too intense, blurring the line between ordinary memory and repetition. This shows us that déjà vu is tied deeply to how memory itself is wired and how delicate the balance of recognition can be. So, while the experience is nearly universal, its rhythm, its frequency, its strength varies gently from person to person, like the way no two dreams are ever quite the same. Even though we all dream, what is especially fascinating is how déjà vu appears across the globe, from small villages to vast cities, from ancient times to the present day. In Japan, in India, in Europe, in Africa, in the Americas, people all report this feeling. Even when languages differ, even when traditions are oceans apart, the description is the same. A sudden familiarity in the unfamiliar. Writers in history have noted it too, although they did not always call it déjà vu. Some spoke of it as false memory, others as time doubling. and some as a mystical sign that the soul has walked this path before. But regardless of how it was explained, the experience itself was shared. Even today, in scientific studies, people from different backgrounds describe déjà vu with the same words. They speak of a place feeling strangely known, of a conversation that feels like a repetition, of a moment that seems like it was already lived. And so we see that déjà vu is not just about individuals. It is about humanity. It is part of the hidden language of the brain, a language we all speak, whether we know it or not. This universality is perhaps the most enchanting part. For when you feel déjà vu, you can know that millions of others all across the world have felt it too. At this very moment, as you listen to my voice, someone else, somewhere far away, might be pausing in wonder, touched by the very same flicker of recognition. It reminds us that we are never truly alone in our mysteries. The same strange sparks of the mind that visit you also visit others, binding us together through shared, invisible experiences. Memory is one of the most precious abilities of the human mind. It is what allows us to carry the past into the present, to recognize faces, to recall names, to hold stories close. And yet, memory is not perfect. It is not a flawless recording, like a camera storing images. Instead, it is a living, shifting process, one that is constantly being shaped, reshaped, and sometimes gently mistaken. Scientists often describe memory as reconstructive. This means that every time you remember something, your brain is not simply playing back a recording. It is actually rebuilding the memory piece by piece, using fragments, associations, and feelings. It is as though your mind is painting a picture again and again. And while the picture may be close to the original, tiny details may change each time. This fragility, this delicate process, is what gives rise to what scientists call the memory glitch hypothesis of déjà vu. According to this idea, déjà vu occurs when the brain accidentally misfiles information. Imagine you are walking down a hallway you've never seen before. But for some reason, your brain stores the present moment in the part of memory usually reserved for the past. So as soon as you experience it, it already feels like a memory. The present masquerading as the past. It is like pulling a book from the shelf, only to realize that the same book is already filed in the read section, even though you have never opened it before. This small error, this gentle slip of the system, can create the powerful sensation of déjà vu, a moment that feels like it has been lived, even though it has not. And because memory is such a vital part of our identity, even the smallest glitch can ripple through our sense of time and familiarity. Think about it this way. If memory is the thread that weaves together the story of your life, then déjà vu is a tiny knot in the fabric, a place where the thread doubled back on itself. And for a brief moment, past and present became tangled together. We have all felt how fragile memory can be, even in ordinary moments. Perhaps you have walked into a room, only to forget why you went there. Or maybe you have searched for your keys, only to discover them in your hand the whole time. These are small, harmless errors of memory, proof that the system, while miraculous, is not perfect. Another example is the feeling of misplacing a word. You know it is on the tip of your tongue, but for a moment, your brain cannot deliver it. Later, the word pops into your mind effortlessly, as though it had been waiting just out of reach. Déjà vu, in the memory glitch hypothesis, is similar. It is not that the brain has failed completely, but that it is fired just slightly out of sync. The memory of the present is stored. Before your awareness can process it as new. Imagine taking a photograph with an old camera. If the film shifted slightly while the shutter clicked, you might capture a double exposure, two images overlapping on the same frame. The result will look strange, ghostly, but also familiar. That is how déjà vu feels. Two timelines layered upon one another in your awareness. There are even small-scale studies that support this idea. In some experiments, people were shown images very briefly and then shown them again without realizing it. When they saw the image the second time, they reported a feeling very close to déjà vu, a flicker of recognition, without a clear memory of when or where they had seen it. It suggests that déjà vu may be the mind's way of reacting to information it has stored just a moment too soon. The brain whispers, "You've seen this before?" And technically it has, only seconds earlier in a hidden corner of memory. But because it feels like the past, the present is suddenly doubled. This idea paints déjà vu not as a mystical phenomenon, but as a side effect of a memory system that is beautifully complex and sometimes beautifully imperfect. What is remarkable about the memory glitch hypothesis is that it shows us the fragile beauty of our minds. We often think of errors as flaws, but here, the error is part of what makes us human. If our brains were perfect recorders, we might never feel déjà vu. Every moment would remain in its precise place, neatly filed, never overlapping. Life would be accurate, but perhaps a little less mysterious. Instead, our minds are full of surprises. A smell can pull us back to childhood. A melody can bring tears from decades past. And déjà vu can make the present shimmer with the illusion of memory. Some scientists even suggest that this fragility is what allows creativity to exist. Because when memories overlap, when they blur slightly, we make new connections, new associations. We imagine, we invent, we dream. So in a way, déjà vu is not simply a glitch. It is a window into the way our minds weave together past and present. The way a tiny error can create a profound experience. One that leaves us thoughtful, curious, and a little enchanted. Think of it as standing in a vast library. Millions of books surround you, each one a memory. Most of the time, the librarian places them on the shelves with care. But once in a while, a book is misfiled. When you open it, you feel you've read it before, even though you haven't. That little error becomes an experience, and the mystery of déjà vu is born. The human brain is a masterpiece of parallel processing. Every moment, countless streams of information move through it. Some fast, some slow, some conscious, some hidden just beneath awareness. Scientists call this idea the dual processing theory. It suggests that our brains handle information in two main tracks. One track is quick, automatic, intuitive. The other is slower, deliberate, reflective. Think of it like two rivers flowing side by side. One rushes swiftly over the rocks, carrying impressions and instincts. The other moves gently, carefully, carrying reason and thought. Together, they form the whole of our experience. Now imagine for a moment what might happen if these two streams fell out of sync. If one processed the present just a heartbeat before the other, your mind might feel as though it had already lived the moment. The fast track whispers, "I've seen this already," while the slower track only just begins to catch up. This is the heart of the dual processing theory of déjà vu. It suggests that déjà vu is not a memory error, but a timing error. The brain receives the present twice, once quickly, once slowly, and by the time the second stream arrives, the first has already labeled it as familiar. It is a little like hearing an echo. If you stand at the edge of a canyon, your voice returns to you with a slight delay. You know it is your own voice, and yet Here it again feels uncanny. In déjà vu, the echo happens inside the mind itself. Two processes, two timings, overlapping, slightly misaligned. This idea helps explain why déjà vu can feel so sudden, so fleeting. It is not that the brain is reliving a memory from long ago, but that it is processing the present twice, with the first pass tricking you into believing it belongs to the past. We can see smaller examples of dual processing all the time. Imagine driving down a familiar road. Your reflexes guide you through turns almost automatically. That is the fast track, the quick system at work. At the same time, another part of your mind may be reflecting on the day ahead. That is a slower track, thoughtful, deliberate. Usually, the two streams remain in harmony, but every so often they stumble out of rhythm. Perhaps you press the brakes before you even think. There's a stop sign. Or perhaps you recognize a face before you consciously recall the person's name. In these moments, the faster system delivers information early, and the slower system follows, just a little behind. This slight delay, this gentle mismatch, is exactly what scientists believe could create déjà vu. Consider another example. Sometimes, when reading, your eyes may glance at a word before your conscious mind notices it. When you officially read it the second time, it feels oddly familiar, as if you had already read it before. This mini déjà vu is a glimpse of what happens when two systems overlap. The dual processing theory places déjà vu within this broader pattern of how the brain works. It is not magic, not a vision of past lives, but a tiny timing glitch between two powerful, parallel systems. What makes this so fascinating is that it reminds us that perception is not as seamless as it seems. What feels like a single, smooth stream of awareness is really two rivers running side by side, always in motion. When their currents align, the world feels ordinary. When they slip, even briefly, the world shimmers with a strange familiarity of déjà vu. The dual processing theory also invites us to reflect on the beauty of imperfection. It shows us that déjà vu may not be a mistake at all, but a natural byproduct of a brain that works in two ways at once. Without this dual system, we might not survive. The fast track keeps us safe, helping us react before danger strikes. The slow track helps us reflect, ensuring we make thoughtful choices for the future. Together, they create balance, instinct and reason, reaction and reflection. And when they fall slightly out of sync, when one river runs just ahead of the other, we are gifted with a strange, dreamy sensation of déjà vu, a moment that feels layered, doubled, as though time itself has slipped. It is easy to see such moments as errors, but perhaps they are small reminders of how extraordinary the brain truly is. It does not work like a clock, ticking with perfect precision. It works like a symphony, instruments playing in harmony, sometimes drifting, sometimes overlapping. And just as a musical echo can bring beauty to a song, a mental echo can bring mystery to life. So the dual processing theory tells us this. Déjà vu may not be a window into the past, nor into another life, but into the very architecture of the mind, a glimpse of the two tracks that shape every thought, every action, every dream. And perhaps, when you next feel déjà vu, you might smile softly to yourself, knowing that you are catching your mind in the act, watching as its two rivers flow, just slightly out of time. Deep within a human brain, nestled in its folds like a curled seahorse, lies the hippocampus. Its name comes from the Greek word for seahorse because of its shape, and it is one of the most important regions for memory. The hippocampus is where experiences are transformed. From fleeting impressions into lasting memories, it takes the moment-to-moment flow of life and carefully encodes it, storing it for later. Without the hippocampus, memory becomes fragile, unstable. There are patients, sadly, who have suffered damage to this region, and though they can still live in the present, they cannot form new memories of it. Each day feels like a blank page, turning over and over. This is why scientists believe the hippocampus may play a role in déjà vu, because déjà vu is a memory experience. It feels like remembering, even though you cannot place the source. And if memory is involved, the hippocampus is never far away. One hypothesis suggests that déjà vu occurs when the hippocampus misfires. It may send a signal of familiarity, even when there is no genuine memory attached. It is as if the hippocampus briefly whispers, "You know this?" But when you search for the actual memory, none can be found. Imagine a librarian stamping a book with the label "Already Read," even though the book is brand new. That mistaken label creates the illusion of familiarity, and you feel you have lived the moment before, even though you have not. This is the hippocampus connection, the idea that déjà vu may be born from the very system that normally ensures our memories are reliable, ordered, and true. To understand this better, we need to look at how the hippocampus works with another system in the brain, the parahippocampal cortex. Together, these regions help us judge whether something is familiar or new. When you walk into your kitchen, the hippocampus instantly tells you, "Yes, you know this place." When you step into a new cafe, it quietly says, "This is unfamiliar, pay attention." But sometimes the system stumbles. The hippocampus might send a false positive, a signal that something is familiar when it is not. This misfiring could be caused by stress, fatigue, or simply random noise in the brain circuitry. For example, have you ever mistaken a stranger for a friend from across the street? Your mind briefly insists, "I know that person." Then, as they come closer, the illusion fades. The hippocampus had triggered a signal of familiarity, but it was mistaken. In déjà vu, a similar process might unfold. The hippocampus flashes a signal. This is familiar, but unlike the mistaken face in the crowd, the entire moment feels familiar. The place, the sounds, the air around you, all tinged with a strange sense of recognition. Interestingly, scientists have studied this by looking at people with epilepsy. In some cases, seizures begin in the hippocampus, and during those seizures, patients often report powerful episodes of déjà vu. It is as though the overexcited hippocampus floods the mind with false signals of familiarity, making even the simplest surroundings feel eerily known. This connection between hippocampal activity and déjà vu strengthens the idea that the memory center of the brain is at the heart of the phenomenon, not ghosts, not time travel, but the delicate seahorse-shaped region that carries our memories day to day. The hippocampus connection also reveals something profound about human memory. It shows us that memory is not absolute, but guided by balance, a balance between familiarity and novelty. We rely on the hippocampus to keep that balance steady, to tell us what we have seen before and what we are seeing for the first time. Too much familiarity, and the world would seem repetitive, predictable. Too much novelty, and we would lose the thread of our own lives, unable to recognize what matters. Déjà vu may occur when that balance tips, just slightly. For a few seconds, the hippocampus leans too far toward familiarity, and suddenly, the present feels like the past. It is a fleeting reminder that memory is not a perfect ledger. It is not cold, mechanical data. It is alive, fluid, and sensitive to the smallest shifts. And perhaps this is part of the wonder, because without such a system, we might not be able to hold on to the past at all. The hippocampus, fragile though it may be, is what allows us to keep the story of our lives intact. So when déjà vu comes, it may be a brief glimpse into the secret machinery of memory, a whisper from the hippocampus, misfiring for only an instant, but enough to make time itself feel folded. Think of it like a candle flame, flickering in the wind. Most of the time, the light is steady clear, but when it trembles, it creates a shimmer, a distortion, a strange beauty. That shimmer is déjà vu, the hippocampus, for a moment, sending us the wrong light, and then as quickly as it appears, it fades. The flame steadies again. Life returns to its ordinary rhythm. The hippocampus returns to its tireless work, quietly turning today's moments into tomorrow's memories, guiding us through the dance of familiarity and newness, and leaving behind, every so often, the haunting mystery of déjà vu. There is something mysterious about the way dreams linger. Most fade away the moment we wake, slipping through our fingers like mist in the morning light. But sometimes pieces remain, a fragment of a place, a voice, a moment that feels strangely vivid. The dream overlap theory suggests that déjà vu may be linked to these fragments. That perhaps, when we experience déjà vu, what we are really recognizing is not the present, but a forgotten dream. Imagine this. You are walking through a garden, one you have never visited before. Suddenly, a powerful wave of familiarity washes over you. The path, the flowers, the sound of water nearby. It all feels like something you have lived before. But what if you have lived it not in waking life, but in a dream? Perhaps your mind created a scene nights or even years ago, and though you do not consciously recall it, the memory rests in the background. When you encounter something similar in reality, the hidden memory stirs, and the moment feels uncannily familiar. Dreams are full of such forgotten details. Every night, the brain weaves vast landscapes, people, and places. Most of them dissolve when we open our eyes. Yet, somewhere deep within, their traces remain, like faint sketches stored in the corners of memory. When reality happens to match one of those sketches, déjà vu may be born. Not a glitch, not a misfire, but an overlap, a dream spilling softly into waking life. Throughout history, many people have shared stories that echo this theory. They describe walking into a house for the first time, yet knowing exactly where each door would lead, or meeting someone new, yet feeling as though they had spoken to them before. For some, the explanation lies in the dream world. There are even records from the 19th century, writers and philosophers reflecting on déjà vu as a possible memory of dreams. One French scholar wrote that he had visited entire towns in dreams, and years later, when he traveled there, the sensation of familiarity was overwhelming. Even today, ordinary people tell similar stories. A child dreams of standing in a particular classroom, sunlight falling across a desk. Years later, on their first day at a new school, they stand in the same spot, and déjà vu washes over them. The overlap between dream and waking life is complete. Psychologists suggest that because dreams are drawn from pieces of memory, they often mirror situations we will face in the future. A dream of a crowded street may be assembled from fragments of movies, walks, and imagined faces. When you later step onto a real crowded street that resembles a dream, it feels familiar. The past, in the form of a dream, overlaps with the present. And what makes this especially compelling is how little we remember of our dreams. Studies show that within minutes of waking, we forget most of them. By the end of the day, nearly 90% of dream content is gone. This creates the perfect setup for déjà vu, a hidden memory waiting quietly in the shadows, ready to rise when the real world resembles it. The dream overlap theory also opens a window into the deeper mysteries of the mind, because dreams are not random. They are deeply tied to memory, emotion, and imagination. When the brain dreams, it is rehearsing, reworking, preparing. Some scientists believe dreams help us process daily experiences, while others say they allow us to imagine possible futures. Either way, dreams are rehearsal spaces for life itself. So when déjà vu arises, it might be a sign that the rehearsal has aligned with reality. Think of a musician practicing in secret, night after night. When the day of the performance arrives, the music feels familiar because it has already been played before. Your brain, too, practices life in dreams. And sometimes, when waking life aligns with that practice, déjà vu shimmers into existence. There's also something deeply poetic in this idea, that our dreams are not lost, not wasted, but carried quietly into the present. That déjà vu is the mind's gentle reminder that perhaps we have already walked here before, not in body, but in imagination. And maybe that is why déjà vu feels so enchanting, because it is not only about memory, but about the mysterious bridge between dreams and waking life, the secret dance between what we imagine and what we live. So the dream overlap theory invites us to see déjà vu not as a flaw, but as a gift, a whisper from our dreaming selves, telling us that the line between night and day, between sleep and wakefulness, is thinner than we think. When déjà vu arrives, it may be the dream world waving to us gently, reminding us that even in waking life, we are still dreamers. The human mind is exquisitely sensitive to emotion. Every joy, every fear, every small stress leaves an imprint. Our memories are not stored as dry facts, but as living experiences, colored and shaped by how we felt in the moment. Think back to a childhood memory. You may not recall every detail, the walls, the furniture, the exact words, but you remember how you felt, the warmth, the laughter, the fear, the wonder. Emotion is the glue that binds memory. This is why many scientists believe that psychological and emotional states can trigger déjà vu, because déjà vu is not just about memory itself. It is also about the context in which memory forms. When you're stressed, tired, anxious, or deeply emotional, your brain may process information differently. And in those moments of vulnerability, déjà vu may arise. Consider fatigue. When we are exhausted, the brain's careful timing falters. Signals may overlap, processes may slip, and suddenly, the present feels like a memory echoing back at us. Or consider stress. When adrenaline floods a body, perception sharpens. Every detail feels heightened. The sound of footsteps, the glance of a stranger, the color of the sky. This intensity can confuse the brain's sense of familiarity, making the moment feel eerily known, even when it is not. In this way, déjà vu is not only a neurological event, but a deeply emotional one, shaped by how we feel inside. Our inner storms and quiet moods alike can set the stage for it to appear. There are many accounts of déjà vu that seem tied to emotion. Some people report feeling it most strongly during moments of stress. A student, sitting for an important exam, suddenly feels as though they have already been in that exact seat. The nervous energy of the day magnifies the sensation. Others notice déjà vu in moments of transition. Moving to a new city, meeting someone important for the first time, beginning a new job. These are emotionally charged experiences, and the brain, flooded with feeling, sometimes mislabels them as memories. There are also gentler examples. A person standing by the ocean at sunset may feel déjà vu, not because they have dreamed of that beach, nor because their hippocampus misfired, but because the beauty of the moment echoes countless other sunsets they have seen. The emotional resonance creates the illusion of familiarity. Psychologists also note that personality plays a role. People who are more sensitive, reflective, or imaginative often report déjà vu more often. This suggests that the way we experience emotion may make us more open to these strange flickers of familiarity. And perhaps that is why déjà vu can feel so haunting. It is not only the place or the time that feels known. It is the feeling, the sense of standing inside a moment that carries the weight of memory, even when no memory exists. If we think of memory as a vast library, then emotion is the hand that selects the books. It decides which moments are important enough to keep. It colors them, preserves them, and makes them easier to recall. When déjà vu occurs, it may be because an emotion in the present mirrors one from the past. You feel nervous or joyful or deeply moved, and the brain whispers, "This has happened before," not because the event has happened, but because the feeling has. This overlap shows us something beautiful, that our lives are not a series of separate events, but a web of feelings, echoing and resonating across time. Every joy we feel carries traces of joys before. Every fear awakens old shadows. Every love rekindles earlier flames. Déjà vu may be the mind's way of revealing this hidden web. For just a moment, it pulls the past into the present, through the invisible thread of emotion. And so, psychological and emotional triggers remind us that déjà vu is not simply about the mechanics of memory. It is also about the depth of our hearts, the richness of our inner world. Perhaps that is why déjà vu can leave us quiet, reflective, even a little moved. Because it is not only a mental echo, it is an emotional one, a soft reminder that every moment we live is connected by the feelings that flow through us like tides. So when you next feel déjà vu, pause for a breath. Notice not only what is around you, but what is within you, the beating of your heart, the state of your mind. You may discover that the sensation arises not from the world outside, but from the emotions you carry inside. For centuries, déjà vu was a mystery without science. Writers, philosophers, and ordinary people spoke of it in wonder, but they could only guess at its cause. It was not until the late 19th and early 20th centuries that scientists began to study it carefully. They gave its name déjà vu, French for already seen. And slowly, experiments were designed to capture this fleeting, slippery experience. The challenge is clear. Déjà vu happens suddenly and lasts only seconds. It cannot be summoned at will. This makes it one of the most difficult phenomena to study in the laboratory. But scientists have been creative. They have used memory tasks, brain scans, and even computer simulations, all in an attempt to recreate déjà vu in controlled settings. Some of the earliest studies focus on epilepsy patients. Doctors noticed that déjà vu often occurred during seizures, especially those starting in the hippocampus. This gave the first clue that the memory systems of the brain might be involved. Later, with the rise of neuroscience, brain imaging allowed researchers to observe déjà vu more closely. Functional MRI scans revealed subtle activity in the hippocampus and surrounding regions when déjà vu occurred. It was as though the brain was lighting up with false familiarity, a spark of recognition without a source. Other experiments explored how memory itself could be tricked. For example, showing people a series of images, then slipping in similar but not identical ones. When participants saw the altered images, many reported a strong feeling of familiarity, an echo of déjà vu. These studies tell us something profound. That déjà vu is not beyond science. It is not untouchable or purely mystical. It is part of the brain's natural workings, waiting patiently to be understood. Some of the most fascinating experiments are those designed to induce déjà vu. Since the experience is rare and unpredictable, scientists have had to find clever ways to trigger it. One method is called virtual reality simulation. Participants walk through computer-generated environments, exploring digital houses or towns. Later, they are shown new environments that are similar in layout but not identical. When the brain recognizes a structure but cannot place the memory, déjà vu often arises. Another method uses word associations. For example, participants are given a list of related words: bed, rest, dream, night, but the key word, sleep, is left out. Later, when asked if they saw the word sleep, many confidently say yes. They feel a sense of familiarity, even though the word was never shown. This kind of false memory shares qualities with déjà vu, hinting at how easily the brain can blur lines. There are also experiments using hypnosis. In rare cases, hypnotic suggestion has been used to create feelings of familiarity. Participants may be told that when they see a certain picture, it will feel known to them. And indeed, when the image is shown, they report déjà vu. Brain stimulation has also provided insights. In epilepsy treatment, doctors sometimes stimulate areas of the temporal lobe. Patients frequently report déjà vu when these areas are activated. It is as though the brain can be nudged into creating the illusion on command. All of these creative studies suggest that déjà vu is deeply tied to the brain's memory circuits. It can be sparked by patterns, by similarities, by direct stimulation of the hippocampus. It is fragile, elusive, but not beyond reach. The scientific studies of déjà vu reveal much, but they also leave us with mystery. We know that the hippocampus plays a role. We know that false familiarity can be created by memory overlap, or by patterns that resemble past experiences. We know that stress, fatigue, and even direct brain stimulation can bring it about. And yet, science has not solved it entirely. Because déjà vu is not only a neurological spark, it is also an experience, one that feels deeply personal, almost mystical. Experiments can recreate pieces of it, but they cannot fully capture the strange depth of déjà vu. The sudden stillness, the eerie certainty, the feeling of standing in two times at once. Perhaps that is the beauty of it. Science has pulled back the curtain, showing us the machinery of the brain, but it has not removed the wonder. Instead, it reminds us that even in the most advanced laboratories, the human mind continues to surprise us. Déjà vu stands at the edge of science and mystery, a bridge between what we can measure and what we can only feel. And so, when we experience it, we stand in that delicate place where the known and the unknown meet, where memory, perception, and imagination blur. Science tells us déjà vu is real, measurable, tied to the hippocampus and memory systems. But it also whispers that the experience may always hold something ineffable, something that cannot be reduced to circuits alone. And perhaps that is what makes it so unforgettable. A brief shimmer of mystery, illuminated by science, but never fully explained. Despite centuries of thought, despite modern laboratories and advanced brain scans, déjà vu remains in many ways unexplained. We have gathered pieces of the puzzle, We know of memory glitches, dual processing, the hippocampus, dreams, and triggers. We know déjà vu can be gently recreated through experiments and that it is common in human life. And yet, none of these explanations fully capture it. When you stand in a room and suddenly feel you've stood there before, when you hear words that seem to echo from another time, the scientific answers, though precise, do not erase the mystery. This is where déjà vu takes on a special role. It is not just a neurological quirk. It is a reminder of how much we do not yet understand about the mind. Humans have always lived with mysteries. In the night sky, we once looked up and wondered what the stars were. In the depths of the ocean, we imagined creatures that science had not yet found. And within ourselves, in memory and consciousness, mysteries still remain. Déjà vu is one of those inner mysteries. It is not dangerous, not frightening. It is gentle, fleeting, and strangely comforting. A reminder that the human brain holds stories we cannot fully write. To live with déjà vu is to accept the unexplained, to allow the strange feeling to pass, knowing that some experiences are beyond capture. And sometimes that is a beautiful thing. For many people, déjà vu feels more than just scientific. It carries a weight, a strangeness that seems to reach beyond memory. Some traditions see it as a glimpse of past lives, as if our souls carry echoes of experiences we once lived before. Others view it as a signal from fate, a moment aligning perfectly, telling us we are where we are meant to be. Philosophers have mused that déjà vu may be proof of time's complexity, that perhaps we are not bound to a single line of time, but brush against moments already lived. It feels at times like a whisper from eternity. Of course, science offers other explanations, but science does not erase wonder. It only adds new dimensions to it. To feel déjà vu is to stand in a doorway. On one side is the physical brain, with neurons firing and memories sparking. On the other is the mystery of experience, the weight of meaning, the soul's interpretation. And perhaps both are true at once. The brain explains how it happens. The heart explains why it matters. When we feel déjà vu, we are reminded that we are part of something vast, that memory, time, and experience are woven together in ways we barely understand. It humbles us, and it also comforts us, because even in a world of science, there is room for mystery, and déjà vu is one of its gentlest gifts. As we come to the end of this exploration, let us rest for a moment in the quiet wonder of déjà vu. We have walked together through its many possible explanations, from memory glitches to the dual processing of the brain, from the hippocampus to dreams and triggers, to the experiments that capture pieces of it. And yet, what remains is not a single answer, but a feeling, a moment, a soft shimmer of familiarity that science cannot fully contain. Perhaps déjà vu is the brain misfiring, or perhaps it is something deeper, a sign of how mysterious consciousness truly is. Either way, it reminds us of the beauty of being human, of carrying mysteries within us that even the brightest minds cannot yet explain. So if one day you find yourself in a cafe or a quiet street, or sitting with a loved one, and suddenly it feels as though you have lived that exact moment before, pause and breathe and smile. You are experiencing something shared by countless humans through time, a little mystery that belongs to us all. And as you close your eyes tonight, drifting into dreams, know that some mysteries are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be felt. And déjà vu is one of them. So now, dear listener, I wish you peace. I wish you calm. I wish you rest. May your night be filled with gentle dreams, and may tomorrow greet you with quiet wonder. good night, and goodbye.